Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel where I'm sorting out my bookshelves. So my Christmas cactus is still going really strong, as you can see. She's got loads of flowers, still doing really well. And then I have this on my shelf. I think it's really nice, this little vase. Dawn got me some flowers and these flowers didn't fit in the main vase, so I put them in a little one. I think it actually fits really nicely with my shelves. So this video is going to be full of my favourite books because I found the bag of my favourite books. So it's probably going to be a long video of me chatting about how much I love these books. So this shelf, as I said, is going to be my fave books. And then down here is like, probably not going to read them again. So I'm going to move some stuff out of here to make room for my Alice Walker favourite books. So here I have a load of things that are, oh, that's a poetry collection. That's Ocry poetry collection, really great poetry collection, but all my poems are going up there. And then here I'm going to make some shelf space next to Ian Forster, who I adore as well, for Alice Walker, who is my all-time favourite author. So I want to have her main first bit on the shelf. So The Colour Purple is probably her most famous work. It's about a woman who is writing letters to God, but really it's a diary entry of her life. Absolutely fantastic. You have to read this if you haven't read it. I then have read Alice Walker Now Is the Time to Open Your Heart, which is about a novel about a woman who's finding herself and she tries alternate medicine. And the medicine is supposed to make you talk to grandma, but grandma isn't your actual grandma, it's your ancestors. So trace back your roots and talk to your ancestors. And as you can see, I absolutely adored it. I tabbed so many moments that I just loved. I can't read them all out because there's, oh, and then it went into, so this bit is about the Hawaiian queen. So in Hawaii they used to have a queen and they don't anymore, and it talks about that. And then there's just so many fantastic moments within the book. Oh, I love this bit here. This is about people who lie about your age. People who try to look younger miss part of their lives, she queried seriously. She also held a suspicion she didn't tell him, that if you lied about your age, the number of years you took off were subtracted by the universe. That's why so many people died sooner than they thought they would. I love that bit about aging. And, oh, this line. This will give you an idea of Alice Walker's writing throughout the whole entire book. Just gorgeous lines like this. She cleared her throat, which had so many wrinkles as the ocean has waves. Oh, I just loved it so much. Fantastic novel. I then have a short story collection by Alice Walker called Living by the Word. Fantastic short story collection. So short stories between 1973 and 1987. I then have her poetry collection, Revolutionary Petunias, loved it. And then I have this book, which is all her poetry collections, so works from 1965 to 1990. And this is collected poems, her Blue Body, Everything We Know, Earthling poems. And it has all the different poetry collections, but it's really interesting because before the poetry collection, she writes about where she was in her life. So she says, this poetry collection, I was very depressed at this time in my life, and it's reflected within the poems and different things about them. And I've just tabbed so many poems I absolutely adore, and that's why I want this book to be here, so that I can reread my Alice things or pick up this poetry collection and just read through a poem. So they're all just there. So we have Alice Walker there. Let's push her up a little bit. And then we have Ian Forster, and then we have Agatha Christie's Secret Notebooks. This is the man who wrote about Agatha Christie's Secret Notebooks. And I'm going to now get out my Agatha Christie collection. I can see Agatha Christie Nemesis. I have my Agatha Christie's here, so I'm going to go through these plots with you. I absolutely love these. I'm going to move my cactus a little bit as well, so that I'm not hurting her flowers. Okay, so I'm going to put my Agatha Christie collection in this bit here with the Agatha Christie notebooks. Ooh, in between Tracy Chevalier there. So we have Agatha Christie Nemesis, which is about someone writes to Agatha Christie. Well, I should probably say this one first. So A Caribbean Mystery is Agatha Christie goes on holiday and there's obviously a murder, and then someone who's in this book writes to her in Nemesis. So you have to read Nemesis after Caribbean Mystery. And in Nemesis, someone writes to her and they have a crime that they want her to look into. And it's an old crime, it's not a new crime, but they want her to find out if the person was really guilty or not. Let's see, I've tabbed a moment in this. Let's see what it is. I think Agatha Christie has so many great reflections on life as well. So many great murder mysteries, but so many great reflections. I'll just put next to it, great line. When you're young and strong and healthy and life stretches ahead of you, living isn't really important at all. It's young people who commit suicide easily, out of despair from love, sometimes from sheer anxiety and worry. But old people know how valuable life is and how interesting. See, Agatha Christie has so many nice reflections on life. I have The Mysterious Affair at Styles, which we read for my book club. I have my favourite Agatha Christie, which is Halloween Party, which I absolutely adored. Let's see what I tabbed. What did I tab? Michael Garfield was a very beautiful young man. It is always difficult to know if you like anyone beautiful. You like beauty to look at, and at the same time you dislike beauty, almost on principle. I thought it was a funny line from Poirot there. And then this one. As Satan, young and beautiful, as Lucifer can appear to mortals. Lucifer, she said. Yes, I see him. He was always that. And it's about a character within the story, how he was always a bit evil, always a bit cunning. I also have read Murder on the Orient Express. Let me start sorting these books out a little bit. So I'll take out the books where I've only read one from the author, but I still love. Just make a little bit of space. So Murder on the Orient Express. Did I read that for my book club? I think I did. Loved it. Absolutely adored it. Thought it was fantastic. So... got loads of Tracy Chevalier next to these books. I think I'm going to have to take some more out, some more standalone books. I like to keep my authors all together. I don't keep my books in genres or anything like that, but I do like to keep my authors together. So I've got all my Agatha Christie, all my Ian Forster, all my Alice Walker, all my Tracy Chevalier, Arthur Miller. I like to keep it like that. And if it's a series like Madame Pamplemousse, I like to keep those books together, but I don't do them in classics, horrors, or any genres like that at all. So I have some more Agatha Christie that I've read down here. I actually have 3 more to show you. So what have we got? We got 1 to Buckle My Shoe, which is about a dentist. I thought that was a good one. We have The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side. I thought that was very good. I like all Agatha Christie. And then The Body in the Library, which I think my favourites might be Halloween Party and then The Body in the Library. So I need to put these, I'm going to stack these into the shelf. So I've taken out Hunchback of Notre Dame and Damage because I've only read those 2 books by the different authors. So I have all my Agatha Christie's here. I found my other Madame Pamplemousse book, which I'm going to put in with the series. So it goes Alice Walker. This shelf is done now, so I'm going to do a quick overview. So we got Alice Walker, we got A Passage to India, we've got Ian Forster, A Passage to India, Where Angels Fear to Tread, Room with a View. We've got Agatha Christie, which goes all the way from here to there. Then got all my Tracy Chevaliers. I got all my Arthur Millers. I've got the Madame Pamplemousse series. These 2 are standalones, but they're those red spine ones. Then got my Toni Morrisons, and then just got some classics here. So I've got Little Women, so Louise M. Alcott, her books, Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, and then individual ones. So I've got Mary Shelley, got 3 of hers, and then Rudyard Kipling, Jane Eyre, Daphne du Maurier. So this shelf is now done, and I'm going to move on to the next one. So I've just looked at the next shelf, and I actually think this is done as well. This is perfect with all the books that I love. So again, books that I love. A lot of standalones here, so I won't go through them all, but some Diary of Frida Kahlo. I've then got my Harper Lee, then got all my Worst Witch books together, and then just a load of different standalones, some with white spines I've put together. And yeah, I think this shelf is done. So I'm going to move on to the next one, and then I will need a ladder to get to the next one because I can't reach it at all. So here I have a load of standalones that I absolutely loved that I've shown you in previous videos. So I'm actually going to sort them out a little bit so they're not as higgledy-piggledy at the top. So up on this shelf I have a load of books that I have already shown you in other videos. So I'm just going to pop some more off the bottom shelf that I have shown you onto this shelf. And then here we have my poetry collection. So I'm actually going to get this down so that I can show you my poetry books and say whether I think they're worth getting or not, or what I think of them. So pop that up like so. Okay, so we've got Ben Ocry poetry collection. This one is called An African Eulogy. Highly recommend, absolutely adored it. We got a poem for the day one. This is with a foreword of Wendy Cope. There have been many more in the series. This is book one, and this is how many poems I liked in it and tabbed. I thought there were some absolutely great poems within this. So I'm going to put that there, so if I want to pick it up, it's just there for me to pick up. And then put Ben Ocry. Oh, will it fit? Next to it. I have Langleaf's poetry collection, Love and Misadventure. Absolutely adored this. They're very short poems, as you can see, and then there is some art in it as well, and that's how many I tabbed there. I then have Emily Dickinson's illustrated poems, so it's her poems, and then they've put a piece of art next to it. So let me give you an idea of it. In this series they've got other poems, other poets. This is by Orient Press. I thought that was really good. Philip Larkin's The Whitsun Weddings. I thought this was good, but I don't know if I'd read any more of Philip Larkin's poetry. I have The Fireside Book of David Hope. They actually still do these books. So these books are a collection of poems with different art styles, but art styles that are very much of the time. So this one came out in the 1990s, so it's very 90s, but I went into WH Smith the other day and they have a new one now, so it'd be interesting to buy it and see what kind of art style they've put with it. This, I don't think I've tabbed anything, but this is classic readings and poems for weddings, christenings, funerals and all occasions, and it's just very famous poems, but it does have some art in it as well, and I thought that was really good. So I might actually put that there so it's kind of peeking out a little bit. Put my other poetry books up there as well. And then I have Now We Are 60 and a Bit by Christopher Matthew, decorations by David Eccles. David Eccles used to illustrate political things in newspapers as well, like comics strips, you know, like political comics and stuff. I love the illustrations and I love this poetry collection. I'm gonna have to read this again because I really like that. And then we have some Pam Ayres. Pam Ayres was a kind of a comedy poet, and I really liked this poetry collection. And then she also used to play piano and sing songs, so it has some great illustrations and then some piano sheet music if you wanted to play along, and I just thought her poems were really funny. So I'm going to put them up on this shelf. So there's that shelf there. They just keep falling down, so I've just put them like that. I then have all my Anne Cassidy's, which is quite a stack. I actually interviewed Anne Cassidy on the channel. She writes YA thrillers, but you can read them if you're an adult. They're not just YA. I have an interview on my channel of me talking to her. I have read from her Guilt Trip, Love Letters, Looking for JJ, that's my absolute fave from her, Talking to Strangers, and Innocent, and I love all of her books that she has brought out. So I'm going to put these up here so they all stay together. There we go. What else do we have? Oh, we have The Mothers by Brit Bennett. Absolutely adored this book so much. It's about a teenage girl who gets involved with the kind of pastor's son, but no one knows about their relationship, and she has lost her mother, and it's just fantastic, absolutely amazing. I then have some Dodie Smith, or I have another Alice Walker, Anne Cassidy. This is Missing Judy. So I'll pop that up there. So Dodie Smith obviously famously wrote The 101 Dalmatians. Absolutely love it. It's so funny, this book. You wouldn't think it was. You think it's just like kind of the film, like very quaint and lovely, and it is, but it's also so funny. The dogs interacting with each other and like the mum dog getting jealous and everything. It is such a funny book. There's so many characters doing it who didn't make it into the films as well. Absolutely adore it. And then Starlight Barking is a follow-on from 101 Dalmatians, but really, oh my god, that made me jump, that book just like slid. But really, this is about every dog deserves a home, and dogs who are treated badly and abandoned, they deserve a home and love as well. And it's such a gorgeous, gorgeous book. So I'm going to pop these up on the shelf, along with the Mothers, that I absolutely adored that book. Then, what else? Oh, I have my Edith Holden collection here. So, I have the Edwardian Lady. This is written by Ina Taylor. And I'll show you what the cover looks like. And it's the story of Edith Holden's life. Someone sent it to me who watches my channel, so I just taped in her little card that she wrote with it. And it's such a good book if you're interested about Edith Holden's life. So, I'm going to pop these up. I have the Edwardian Lady. I then have obviously her most famous work, The Country Diary of an Wardian Lady by Edith Holden. She herself didn't actually publish this. It was published after she died, and it's just her personal, that's what the front cover looks like. And it's her personal diary, and she just handwrote out this diary about the changing seasons. So she'll say stuff like April 12th, what's new in the field, so all morning in the field, very hot sun, cool breeze, saw a beautiful peacock butterfly, found some purple orchids and everything, and then she'll draw the things that she's talking about. Absolutely stunning. It's stunning to think that it was just her personal diary, and she was that great an illustrator. And she also illustrated children's books, and she illustrated fairy tales, the fairy tale books as well. But this is one of them. This is The Hedgehog Feast, and it's actually written by someone called Rowena Scott, but Edith Holden, her name's obviously bigger on it because she was the bigger name. And I'll show you some of her illustrations. This story is all about different animals eating and what they eat. So it'll be all like, oh, the little hedgehogs, you know, they're gonna steal some nuts from the squirrel, and then on the other side it'll be like, and you know, this squirrel is gonna kill a mouse. Like, it's quite distressing. Look, that ferret has killed that bird. I don't really know if it is. Oh my god, they're attacking there. It's supposed to be a children's book. I think it'd be quite traumatising for modern day children, maybe. There's my Edith Holden, and then I've got a little bit of space there. So let's see if I've got any more favourites here. What have I got? I think it's just books that I thought were okay. So this is a thriller. This is The People at Number 9 thriller. I thought that was alright. Girl Online by Zoe Sugg. I actually thought that was like an alright book. That was okay, but I'm not going to reread them. So I'm going to pop them in here because I'm not really going to reread them. So I've got out my ladders so that I can actually get up to the top shelf so you can see how high it is. Because this shelf is nearly done and the next shelf I can reach, but I thought I might as well do the top shelf. So I'm just going to put some books on that I am probably not going to reread again. So I have this book, which actually used to be a diary of all the books that I was currently reading, but I'm no longer using it, but I want to keep it as a keepsake. I then have my Beatrix Potter collection. So I've got the Tale of Miss Tiddlywink, I've got the Tale of Peter Rabbit, the Tale of Squirrel Nutkin, which is my all-time fave Beatrix Potter book. Got another Peter Rabbit, Tale of Two Bad Mice, the Tale of Miss Tittlemaus, the Tailor of Gloucester. I then have this book, which is about Beatrix Potter's life, which was brought out by the National Trust. It's a pocket book about her life. I then have, oh, dropping books. I have The History of the Tale of Peter Rabbit, and it's Beatrix Potter's letters to publishers about the story of Peter Rabbit, and she actually wrote Peter Rabbit as a story for a little boy that she knew, and so it's that story that she originally wrote, and then her writing to her publishers and them telling her what bits to change within it. So it's actually really interesting because it's they tell her to change the way the illustrations are done slightly, so she does little changes to it. And then I have the Tale of Pigling Bland. So I'm going to put these, I'm going to put it in that order, and I'm going to put them on the top shelf. I then have another keepsake book. This was kind of a scrapbook thing, so that's a keepsake, so that can go on the top shelf. And then I have favourite Christmas carols, and it actually has the piano music, and I really want to learn how to play the piano at some point. And I found this in a charity shop and I just thought it was really cool. So it has the lyrics and then also the piano music, stuff like Silent Night, Hark the Herald Angels, Good King Wenceslas, The First Noel, those kind of things. So I'm going to put them up here as well. So that's what it's currently looking like. I then have Waiting for Godo by Samuel Beckett. It's a play and I absolutely adored it. Let's see what I've tabbed on this one. It's very unusual and it can be very easily spoiled. So it's, I can't really read it out because it's like a play, but this is about no crying in death, and he's talking about a willow, and obviously willows are weeping willows. I'm going to try and put this in here where I've got kind of a collection of white spines. Okay, so let's see what else I've got down here. I think I've got all the books that I was sent by last year's Man Booker Prize. Let's have a look. What's here? Oh, something's just fallen out of one of them. Probably notes about it. Okay, so here, these weren't the Man Booker Prize. These are just two graphic novels. So you've got Sisters. So it's really cool. Kind of Cartoon Network, you know, like old school 90s Cartoon Network illustration style. And it's about two sisters on a road trip together. They're kids and it's about how they're arguing with each other. And then there's this one which is called Smile, and it's about a girl who gets braces. And I liked both of those. I think I'm going to put them up on my top shelf. I then have loads that I read for the Man Booker Prize, and I've actually reviewed them all on my channel. So I've got Jeanette Winterson, Frankenstein. I've got Lanny, The Night Book to Tangier, The Wall. The only book that I really liked from this was An Orchestra of Minorities. That was a book that I absolutely adored. But all of these I wasn't really fussed with. And Girl, Woman, Other. So I'm just going to put them here. Start another little shelf of books that were alright, some of them, but I'm not going to reread. So I'm going to end the video here, but every shelf now has some books on it. So that shelf's done, that shelf's done, that shelf's almost done. I need a little gap. Need to start on this shelf, and I have started on the top one, but every shelf now has some books on it. So I'm going to end this one here, and I will see you again soon for another video.